The World Ends With You final remix for the Nintendo Switch finally has a release date in North America. When is that bad boy coming out? Mini arcades seem to be all the rage nowadays, and now Pac-Man is getting in on the situation. Capcom says that they value higher rated games more so than higher selling games. Is this Capcom we're talking about? And a Nintendo Switch bundle is released that really makes no sense, and I'm not sure why it's a thing that exists. All that and much more in the Wednesday, August 8th edition of RGT News. Let's go!
RGT News coming at ya right now. Woo! RGT 85 coming to you with the freshest video game news. Now take it away.
So The World Ends With You Final Remix is yet another game coming to the Nintendo Switch from Square Enix. Now, this game originally released on the Nintendo DS, and a lot of people really loved this game. I remember picking it up when it initially released on the DS, and I thought it was just so cool. It's definitely a unique take on the JRPG genre, and it's something really different and something really unique. Well, of course, The World Ends With You Final Remix was announced for the Nintendo Switch, and now we finally have a release date for this game in North America. This game will be releasing on October 12th, so right around that fall holiday season, you'll be able to pick up The World Ends With You Final Remix. Now, as far as what's been added to the Nintendo Switch version of the game, there is new remix tracks, new enemies, and hours of additional content with a new scenario that Square Enix says makes this the definitive edition and the definitive experience of this game, The World Ends With You. But this game is going to cost $60, and that kind of strikes me as a bit odd, considering the Nintendo DS version was, of course, only $40 when it released. And I understand this game now has HD graphics and they have added in new content and stuff, but essentially it's still an older game. It's really just a remaster, so I think this game would have been better suited at the $40 price range. I don't know if people are going to be as quick to jump into this game at $60 as they would be at $40, but I don't know, maybe that's just me personally. Let me know in the comments section down below if the $60 price point sounds good to you, or if you would rather see it at the $40 price point. So sticking with Square Enix, they recently had their Q1 fiscal year call where they went over some different financial things going on, and obviously Octopath Traveler was a big focal point of that call. The game has exceeded expectations, especially in the US and in Europe, according to this call. Square Enix still believes that the Switch is a good platform for mid-range games, and consumers should expect more on the way. Octopath Traveler will remain a Switch exclusive, and if there are more entries in the series, that's where you can expect them to go. So obviously Octopath has been a bright spot for Square Enix. Overall, their overall revenue was a bit down, but Octopath has definitely not been the cause of that. It's been an absolutely phenomenally selling game. They've already shipped over 1 million units worldwide, and it's just pretty crazy to see, you know, a traditional JRPG that definitely has a retro feel and a retro aesthetic that's doing so well in 2018. So it'll be interesting to see where Square Enix goes from here on the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, The World Ends With You will be coming this October, so it'll be pretty interesting to see how that game sells for Square Enix. How many multi-platform owners are there in the United States? Evidently, according to the NPD, a lot. The NPD, of course, tracks sales figures for video game sales and system sales in the United States, and they recently released a statement saying that 70% of Nintendo Switch owners are actually multi-platform owners. According to the NPD Games Acquisition Monitor, at the end of quarter one, a ballpark of 70% of the people in the US that owned a Switch also owned a PS4 and or an Xbox One. Cross-ownership across all three consoles is pretty high compared to prior gens. Each system is differentiated enough that a big chunk of people that are into console gaming own multiple systems. So that's a pretty wild statistic. I definitely didn't think it would be as high as 70%, but I guess it does make sense. A lot of third-party games obviously don't come to the Nintendo Switch, and of course Nintendo games are regulated to the Nintendo Switch. So if you want to play games like Breath of the Wild or Odyssey, you have to have a Switch, and if you want to play third-party games like Fallout 76, you have to have a PS4 and or an Xbox One. Now obviously I own all three platforms. I think a lot of people out there own all three platforms though, because there's a certain value that goes with every one of them. So 70% of people that own a Switch either own a PS4 or an Xbox One to go alongside of it. Capcom is obviously a company that's had a lot of ups and a lot of downs over the past few years, but during a recent interview with Capcom of Europe COO Stuart Turner, he said something that you don't hear a lot of major video game companies say when talking about video game sales and things of that nature. And if we compare Resident Evil 7 to Resident Evil 6, the absolute numbers are not the same. In terms of profitability, it's completely fine. It ticked all of our boxes internally. It was really well received, and in some respects, getting very good review scores counts as much for Capcom as a game that says millions and millions and millions. We prefer a game that got a 9 and sold less than got a 6 but sold more. And that's pretty telling to me because I don't really think a lot of companies would say something like that. I don't think a lot of companies think like that. Obviously, you have yearly franchises churned out with really no regards into quality of these franchises. So to see a company like Capcom go on record and say this is pretty shocking in my opinion. Is that really true though? Do companies really feel that way? Would they rather see a game highly reviewed sell, okay, than a game that's not as highly reviewed sell really well? At the end of the day, it's a business, so I definitely can see the want and need for profitability, but I'm just shocked that Capcom, of all people, said something like this. Something very popular in the world of video games right now are mini arcades. You're starting to see more companies getting into this venture, and now a new company is getting involved with a Pac-Man Mini Arcade. This will be 1/4 scale replica of the original 1980 Pac-Man arcade cabinet, high quality arcade stick and push buttons, 100% accurate emulation running the original arcade ROM with a 5-inch TFT screen with a 4:3 ratio, full color, replica wooden shell and shape. And this actually looks kind of cool. They have it so that it has an internal battery that you can charge if you want to bring this with you on the go, or you can hook up a micro USB and plug it in when you're at home. I like these little arcades and things like that. Obviously, we've seen the Arcade 1-Up line of arcade machines coming out this fall that have things like Street Fighter and Final Fight on there, and now more people seem to be getting involved with this. I think these guys are going to be sending one into the channel for us to check out, so be on the lookout for that review whenever that comes in. But yeah, I mean, Pac-Man's cool. Pac-Man's still a really fun game, definitely a game from the 80s that you can still appreciate, so I'm all for things like this. Fortnite is a massively popular game, and a new update has just hit all systems and the PC that adds in a brand new shotgun that I have not found in my trials and tribulations of playing Fortnite. But what's really interesting about the new update is the continued support for the Nintendo Switch version. Now, they have increased the resolution of the Nintendo Switch version and done some things to make it a more smooth and playable experience. Now, the game is definitely very playable, but there are some instances where it gets a bit rocky. I've never really had much success sniping in Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch versus on other consoles, but since this update has come out, you can see the footage here, folks. I was knocking down people left and right, so the game definitely feels a lot smoother. I'm not sure, what the resolution is now and what they've actually done in terms of that, but it was detailed in the full patch notes for the Fortnite release, so very cool. It's still definitely the most definitive online experience on the Nintendo Switch with things like easy friend adding, voice chat. It's a very good online experience for the Nintendo Switch, so my hat's off to Epic for not just throwing it out there and just leaving it to dry. They've really added continued support for the Nintendo Switch version of the game, and they're making it better and better as the days go along. And sticking with Fortnite, we have the final news story of the day. This is coming to us from Amazon Italy. It's a few days old, but I haven't really seen anyone talking about this. Maybe because it's just so bizarre and doesn't really make sense. So obviously Fortnite is on the Nintendo Switch. Obviously Fortnite is a free game. Now, if you buy a Nintendo Switch in Italy though, it is a Fortnite bundle, sort of. There's like a big sticker on the front of the Nintendo Switch box that says you can get Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch. So essentially, it is a Fortnite Nintendo Switch bundle. Now, what is added in this bundle? Absolutely nothing. There's no sort of skin for the Nintendo Switch or your controller. There's no sort of additional costumes. There's nothing as simple as adding maybe a few V-Bucks in there or a free season pass. No, it's just strictly marketing. And it's really strange to me because we've seen a PS4 Fortnite bundle that added in a few things, I believe, for, sort of freebies when it came to Fortnite on the PS4 version of the game. But this is strictly just like a marketing thing, and it just seems really weird that every Nintendo Switch that is being sold in Europe has this sticker on it. So I guess they're trying to drum up interest in Fortnite. Obviously, everyone knows that Fortnite is out. Everyone, I think, knows that Fortnite is available on the Nintendo Switch, but maybe my people, the Italians, maybe we just don't realize that Fortnite is out on the Switch, so we need a sticker for it. Alright, and that's going to do it for the Wednesday, August 8th edition of RGT News. This is a very busy Wednesday on the channel. Obviously, this video went up at 9 a.m. Eastern. At 11 a.m. Eastern, my Okami HD review for the Nintendo Switch will be out, so make sure you guys come back and check out that video. Obviously, the Super Smash Bros. Direct is at 10 a.m. for East Coasters, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I might live stream it. I might just do a reaction video after the event because, I don't know, I've been staying up really late the past few nights and my sleep schedule's all messed up, but I'm going to try my damnedest to do a live stream of it. But at the very least, there will be a reaction video and a discussion video talking about what we saw during the Nintendo Direct. Let me know what you think of all the news in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching this video. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, and I will catch you guys on the next video, which will be in 2 hours for the Okami HD review. Later.
RGT 885! RGT 885! Arcade!